I want to take a moment here to bring, and we can't do this often enough, a story that we have mentioned many, many times, and that is this. On the 29th of March, the Wall Street Journal reporter, Evan Gershkovich, was wrongfully detained while working as a journalist in Russia. You'll be familiar with this story. Today, it is 100 days since Evan was arrested. To mark this day, we're now joining our newsrooms around the world by standing in support of Evan. You can see some of the imagery there. This is happening globally, and you can find out more as well. I'll give you the web details, and the hashtag is #IStandWithEvan. Let's speak with Gordon Fairclough, who's the world coverage chief at the Wall Street Journal. Gordon, afternoon to you. Good to see you. It's a prominent day, it's an important day, and it's a crucial day that we keep up the name of Evan, what is happening, the story behind it. It's a wide story, huge implications for democracy, freedom of speech and journalism, and Evan found himself unwittingly right in the centre of it.
Absolutely, and you know, I think it's important too, as you said, we risk losing Evan to being a symbol of press freedom and a symbol of Western values, and he certainly has become a pawn in a game of geopolitics, but he's also a person, a 31-year-old guy, Arsenal fan, you know, big football player, former chef, who's now had 100 days separated from his family, separated from his friends, 100 days not able to eat his favorite foods, 100 days behind bars, not knowing what's coming for him. So it's a very human moment, as well as obviously a very important one in global politics. He
was arrested then on what alleged charges? And I say that, I almost spit the word out there for obvious reasons, because we know what we're dealing with here. This is a Western journalist in Russia, and they don't much like that kind of thing.
They don't. You know, they didn't before. This is certainly an escalation of the kind of treatment that Western journalists have had in Russia. Evan himself, on previous reporting assignments, was pretty aggressively surveilled. You know, people who talked to him were harassed, and I think that's sort of par for the course for covering Russia these days. But this was, you know, an entirely next level thing, as I'm sure you know. It hasn't happened since 1986, since the Cold War, that a foreign journalist has been arrested on charges of spying, charges which, you know, we say are completely false. The White House says is completely false. Evan has never worked for the U.S. government, doesn't work for the U.S. government, has nothing to do with the U.S. government.
Yes. It works for that. I mean, there's a lot of talent at the Wall Street Journal. We know that, but spying isn't really
we
one
like
of
to say that that is not one of our skills.
That's not one of the skills in any shape or form. But it is. I mean, it's very important what you rightly said there, Gordon. You know, there is a person here. There is a family man. There is a guy who is liked by his colleagues. He leads a good life, and he's a journalist, and journalism is... So I would argue, in fact, more so today than I ever... Going forward, you might have thought we'd get to a stage where we, you know, the truth is now out there, we know everything, and we have more transparency, so we don't have to worry. I would say it's more crucial today in many respects, because there's more misinformation today than we've ever had.
I completely agree with you.
And the Cold War, I mean, to coin a phrase, isn't fully over.
It's not, and you know, the more we lose voices like Evan's on the ground, the more you rely on Russian state media to tell you what's happening in Russia, which is, of course, not a very good bellwether. And you know, Evan is very committed to doing the best journalism he can, and he was very committed to being in Russia so that those of us outside would understand what is actually happening in the country.
And what was going on at the point of his arrest then? Was he in the capital? Where was he when this happened?
No, he was in a city called Yekaterinburg, and he was there, you know, on a reporting assignment, like he's been doing, just trying to capture what life is like in wartime Russia and bring that to our audience.
And so he was arrested. We've seen video imagery of the part of what they called some initial trial of some sort. What's the status of that now? Is he awaiting a fuller trial?
He's awaiting trial.
What have the Russians told us?
We've been through 2 rounds, essentially, of bail hearings and appeals of those bail hearings. We don't know when any trial will be held. We've not been told. One of the interesting things about trying to defend this case is that his lawyers are also sworn to secrecy because of the nature of the case, and so we don't have a very good idea of
So his own lawyers are not allowed to talk about it?
That's right.
and that's decreed by the Russian system, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, and so we don't even know when he'll be back in court. We don't know when there'll be a specific trial.
So his remand is extended through the end of August. It's usually in 3-month increments. So we should see him brought before a judge again at that time.
And I would imagine a Russian jail is not the place anybody wants to be. Nobody wants to be in any kind of jail. When you've done nothing wrong, that's even worse. But when you're in a Russian jail and have done nothing wrong, I'd imagine that's a pretty poor place to end up.
I would say so, and it's certainly a famous jail. It's been Soviet and now Russian dissidents and political prisoners have been held there for decades, including Solzhenitsyn. So I guess in that way, at least, Evan is in good company, if somewhat grim. But it's obviously not pleasant. And he's confined to his cell for all but about an hour of the day.
Well, I was going to say on that point, do we know how he's doing? Is he allowed visitors? Is there any information on his state of mind and his health?
So the Russians have really been keeping U.S. diplomats at arm's length. A number of requests for consular access to him were rebuffed. The U.S. ambassador, however, did meet with him earlier this week. But his lawyers do have pretty regular contact with him, which is good. That's one of his main contacts with people from the outside. Otherwise, it's mostly letters. Hundreds and hundreds of people have written him letters of support, and he writes back to them. And I think that's very important for him.
Which arguably keeps him going to some degree.
I think it's very important.
This is everybody that knows Evan, and you know him well. He is a brutally honest, decent man. I think that's one of the first things to say. And the idea that anybody on a trumped-up charge should be languishing anywhere is horrific. When it's somebody whose job was very much just about reporting and getting truth out there, etc., that kind of perhaps compounds the injustice. So how's he doing, though? I mean, is he coping with this? Is he able to somehow mentally kind of understand or perhaps recalibrate it so that he can see this as, sadly, it's part and parcel of the horrendous risk that he took, but he'll be out of it soon? Has he got that level of positivity?
He's an incredibly resilient and strong guy, and he believes very deeply in his mission as a journalist. I think that's giving him a lot of strength right now. I've not had a chance to talk with him directly, and all correspondence in and out needs to be translated into Russian so that it can be read and censored, presumably, by the prison authorities. But what comes out retains Evan's incredible sense of humor from giving his mom a hard time about the quality of her cooking and comparing it to prison food. And he spends a lot of his time, I think, trying to make those of us who are not in prison feel better.
So he's trying to sort of rise above it in some kind of way.
He is indeed, and trying to help the rest of us cope.
So there's a certain strength in doing that, obviously.
Very, very Evan.
Because it's very easy to go the other way and just kind of roll over, and that you're a gibbering heap of nerves and worry and fear. But he seems to have been able to somehow surmount some of that and kept his spirits up. What's important is that we keep up the message, we keep up the name of Evan, we keep up the story of Evan, we keep on reminding people that an innocent man, a journalist, a good journalist, and a very decent fella is currently not yet sentenced, but still on some kind of remand, serving time in a Russian jail. It's not a pleasant place to be, but it is important, Gordon, that we keep this up.
It's incredibly important, and we need to keep banging the drum on this. We need to keep reminding people. We need to make sure that the U.S. government knows how important this is. And
what about the British government? Is there? Are we getting similar support from our own government?
We are. We've been in touch with governments around the world who've been remarkably supportive. Many offering to help. The U.S. president has met with Evan's family. He's personally engaged in this. I know that British government as well is taking a very active interest. So, we're hopeful. There's a lot of talk about prisoner swaps in rather oblique ways by the Russians, but we hope that's where this is headed, and soon.
Yeah, and soon too. And this isn't, you're dealing with the bureaucratic, legal, judicial system of Russia, for goodness sake. I mean, that's not the work of a moment to try and jump through those particular hoops.
No, it's been a challenge. Luckily, we have a great legal team, both outside and inside Russia, working to help Evan. But it's an education, that's for sure.
I'm sure it is. I would advise people to go to this website as well, wsj.com/Evan, wsj.com/Evan. The hashtag I stand with Evan is out there as well. If you're tweeting about this, commenting about this in any shape or form, do put that on there as well. All of these things help build a level of momentum. It is absolutely crucial we keep up awareness for this. It cannot be said often enough how crucial it is when we are dealing with freedom of speech, Western democracy, the idea that a free citizen is not able to go about their business without the fear of a state, in this case Russia, interfering, carrying out some kind of arrest with whatever charges they believe might be pending, etc. So absolutely, every day of the week, bang that drum, use that hashtag, go to the website, and remember Evan Gershkovich, who is there at the moment in jail, and hopefully he won't be for much longer, and he'll be out as soon as is physically possible, Gordon. We certainly hope so.
We do. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for being with us. Gordon Fairclough is the World Coverage Chief at the Wall Street Journal.